It's Christmas Day. I didn't really read that much news or anything, but there was one thing that I wanted to talk about. It's about 11:15 p.m. West Coast time. So, a woman named Tina Peters was a former county clerk, election worker in the state of Colorado. And following the 2020 election, at Donald Trump's behest and encouragement, she broke a lot of laws in giving outside individuals access to voting machines, cracking open voting machines, and accessing voter data, all in an effort to prove Donald Trump's claims that the 2020 election was stolen. She was indicted, she was arrested, she was put on trial, and she was convicted after a jury trial of multiple felonies and was sentenced to like 8 or 10 years in prison. And on state charges in state court, Donald Trump has been threatening the state of Colorado, the governor of Colorado, for months because he wants the governor of Colorado, Jared Polis, to pardon her and to let her out of prison. And Jared Polis is like, no, she was convicted of a bunch of felonies by a jury after a trial which was fair. She broke the law. And it's like, we all know that means jack shit to Donald Trump because she was loyal to him and went to prison for it. And he is powerless to get her out. And last month, two things happened. He issued her a full pardon anyway and did a dramatic Truth Social post about it, knowing that that pardon is completely ineffective. And then his Department of Justice announced that they're going to do a widespread investigation into the state prison system in Colorado, which is pure retribution. Because Donald Trump and his DOJ, they know that investigations are expensive, and they're very expensive. So now they're going to drain Colorado's state prison resources and try and find some way to do God knows what. I have no idea. But she was issued a full federal pardon by Donald Trump, even though she's never been charged with or convicted of a federal crime. She was convicted of state charges, so that pardon is completely ineffective. And she, yesterday, Christmas Eve, she asked the state appellate court in Colorado to recognize Donald Trump's full pardon of her state convictions as valid. It's a desperation move, but in a motion filed on Tuesday, Tina Peters' lawyers said the Colorado Appeals Court no longer has jurisdiction over her case because of a December 5th pardon issued by Trump. That's made up. They just made that up. And sometimes that's what we do as lawyers. We make shit up. Not facts, but we make up arguments. We pull arguments out of our ass all the time. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But you're not supposed to make up facts, okay? And when her attorneys argue that the Colorado state court system no longer has jurisdiction over Tina Peters' convictions on state charges because Donald Trump issued her a federal pardon, that, in the legal world, is what we call bullshit. They're bullshitting. And they asked the court to release her from prison because of Trump's pardon. Tina Peters, the former Mesa County, Colorado clerk, was convicted of multiple state crimes for orchestrating a data breach scheme driven by false claims about the voting machine fraud in 2020 presidential race. Donald Trump's pardon power does not extend to state crimes. In the court filing, her attorneys argued that President George Washington issued pardons to people convicted of both state and federal crimes in the Whiskey Rebellion in 1795. they urge the state to appeal, or they urge the state appeals court to issue a ruling quickly. The court is set to hear arguments from lawyers in her conviction on January 14th. Correct me if I'm wrong, but in 1795, the Whiskey Rebellion, I don't believe the Constitution existed yet. I think that came into existence around like 1803 or something like that. I could be wrong on that. Who knows? Yeah, I should know that. You know, I mean, I've read it a whole bunch of times. But they have no arguments to make, and which makes me want to tune in and listen to and or watch the hearing, the appellate court hearing on Tina Peters' conviction on January 14th. That should be a hoot. So, you know, it's just gibberish. It's just gibberish. Because here's the thing, man, and we're seeing this at the federal level with Donald Trump too. It's like Trump and Stephen Miller and Tom Homan and Kristi Noem and Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. I mean, they had all been going on TV for so many years and spouting so much complete gibberish bullshit as fact that they think they can all do that in their current jobs. And the one thing that is stopping them from getting away with that is the courts. The federal district level courts, the federal trial courts, that hear cases, that hear motions, that hear trials, that take evidence, that have witness testimony. Because it's like when you go into a federal court like that, bullshit doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter anymore because you have to have admissible evidence of things. And there are rules in every state. There are rules in the federal court system about what constitutes evidence and what constitutes what evidence and what forms of evidence are admissible. And if evidence is not admissible, it doesn't get admitted, it doesn't get presented to a jury. And yes, attorneys can make arguments, but as we've seen frequently over the last year, attorneys working for Donald Trump and Pam Bondi's Department of Justice have routinely been accused by district court judges, trial court judges, of lying to the court, of misrepresenting evidence, of calling witnesses to the stand who don't know what they're talking about and aren't testifying to things that the courts have ordered the DOJ to produce evidence to testify about. It's a level of incompetence coupled with malevolence, coupled with an absolute disrespect for the judicial system in the United States, from the trial court level all up to the Supreme Court level. The disrespect that the Trump administration has for the judicial branch at every level is stunning. But the judicial branch is the one that's having success in stopping their worst impulses, to the point where they are lying to courts now. They are disregarding court orders now. They're going to start being held in contempt of court. Pam Bondi's going to be held in contempt of Congress for how she's handled the Epstein document rollout. It's just, you know, whether we remain a nation of laws is really hanging in the balance right now. It's really hanging in the balance right now. And federal trial courts are leading that fight. They're leading that fight. And that's why it's important that those judges are appointed for life, because they're not influenced by politics with threat of losing their jobs.